What's up everyone? Now in this video I'll be talking about the events of the second major arc in Kingdom, which is Shin's first campaign. And without taking up any more of your time, let's get into it. Now, after the chaos of the Royal Palace assault, Shin gets a little break. Well, kind of. He's been recovering from the brutal injuries he got while fighting with some serious opponents like Saji and Rankai. But it's not like he's lounging around in bed or anything. Instead, he's working this crazy demanding job lugging heavy bags around. I mean, can you imagine having to heal and do that at the same time? Well, thankfully, Cariote and the sharp and resourceful housemate steps in to handle things at home. It's like a strange balance of survival where Shin is doing all the heavy lifting, literally, and Ten's the one making sure they don't starve. But here where things start getting interesting, Shin didn't just collapse at the end of the day. Nope. Every night without fail, he's out there swinging his sword, training his swordsmanship skills, waiting for his next opportunity to shine. Then comes the moment that really sets everything in motion. The Shin army puts out a notice. They're recruiting infantry for the massive campaign to capture the key city of Keio led by the great general Duke Hyo. Now, after signing up for the campaign, Shin crosses paths with two familiar faces, Bihei and Bito. These two are his old friends from his old home, and of course, they don't miss a chance to mess with him. The banter between them is great because even after everything they've been through, it's clear their bond hasn't changed. But amidst all the jokes, things get a little serious. They bring up Hyo's burial. Now, for those of you who don't know, Hyo was Shin's best friend, more like a brother who played a major role in Shin's life. Bihei and Bito urge Shin to visit his grave, saying it's something he shouldn't put off. But here's the thing about Shin. He tells them that he'll visit Hyo's grave, but only after achieving their dream of becoming a great general. That's the kind of guy Shin is. Focused, determined, maybe a little too single-minded, but you can't help but respect him for it. With that promise hanging in the air, they march on to meet the rest of the infantry. Now in the Shin army, the smallest unit is a 5-man squad called a Go. Shin's squad begins to take shape when he meets two key people, Kyokai and En. Together they form their 5-man squad, and it feels like the pieces are finally falling in place. The squad's energy is a mix of personalities, but somehow it works. And with that, they join up with the 4th Army, which is one of the 6 armies that will be taking part in the invasion. Just when everything seems to be moving according to plan, General Gokei of Wei makes his first move, and it's a bold one at that. He doesn't waste time and launches an attack on the Shin castle of Gan, completely blindsiding the Shin forces. And to make things worse, he slays the lord of the castle. The moment news reaches the 4th Army, it's clear that things aren't going to go as smoothly as they hoped. Instead of marching straight toward their objective, they are forced to change direction and respond to the threat Gokei has created. As the 4th Army changes course to respond to Gokei's attack, Shin runs into an old acquaintance, Heki, who's now risen to the rank of 1,000-man commander. But this reunion between Shin and Heki isn't just a casual chat. You see, Heki's rank and position make this encounter stand out, especially to the infantry soldiers. I mean, here's Shin, just a low-ranked guy in the army, having a friendly reunion with a high-ranking commander. You can imagine the buzz that creates around Shin. Shin and Heki catch up for a bit, and you get the sense that there is mutual respect between the both of them. Even though they have taken different paths in the army, their bond is still strong. But it's not long before Heki has to get back to business, heads off to a meeting with the higher-ups where all the major players in the campaign are gathered. And this is where we finally meet the general in charge of the entire campaign, Duke Hyo. At the meeting, Duke Hyo shows just how sharp he is and reads General Gokei's strategy like an open book. They shift the battle to the plains where the Wei chariots will have the upper hand. The Wei chariots are a deadly force in open terrain, and Gokei is banking on that advantage. Duke Hyo, being Duke Hyo, accepts the challenge and meets him head-on the Dakan plains. After their detour, the 4th Army finally arrives at the plains, where the real battle is set to begin. The soldiers are tense and it's clear that the stakes are high. Heiki steps up to brief them on the situation, giving everyone a clear idea of what they're up against. Wei forces have already taken a key strategic position, a hill that dominates the battlefield. This hill isn't just some random spot, it's the high ground, and anyone who has ever watched a battle knows how crucial that is. The Wei soldiers, along with General Gokei's second in command, have already fortified the position, and if Shin wants any shot at victory, they need to take this spot. While most of the infantry is struggling just to hold their own, Shin charges forward like a force of nature. It's like something just clicks inside of him. He tears through enemy lines, leaving chaos in his wake. He's practically running amok, and while everyone else is just trying to survive, Shin is out there kicking ass and taking names. And then, in a move that just leaves everyone stunned, even manages to take the head of an enemy commander. All this in the first few minutes of his first ever campaign. Now, just when things couldn't get any more intense, the Wei infantry suddenly pulls back, and you can almost feel the dread in the air as the Shin soldiers realize what's coming next. The first wave of Wei war chariots thunders onto the battlefield, and let me tell you, they are brutal, tearing through Shin infantry like a hot knife through butter. Casualties start piling up as the Shin soldiers who had barely begun to fight are suddenly scattered and chaos reigns. But while the chariots are preparing their next charge, Kyokai steps up with an idea. It's risky, but at this point, they've got nothing to lose. Kyokai instructs the remaining infantry to cluster together and use the fallen soldiers' corpses as shields. And wouldn't you know it, the strategy works. And in the chaos, Shin sees his opportunity. He gets his hands on a horse, and now he is a lone horseman on the battlefield. The chariots circle around, prepared to charge again, and this time from behind. Shin takes up the impossible task of fighting the Wei chariots by himself, moving across the entire battlefield to aid his comrades, and Kyokai, the ever-sharp tactician, directs him on how to handle the chariots. And the two of them manage to turn the tide. Shin's relentless assault on the chariots not only keeps the Shin forces from being wiped out, but it also gives them a strong foothold in the battle. And just when the situation seems stable, Duke Hyo seizes the opportunity. He sends in cavalry to reinforce the 4th Army's battlefield. And just when it looks like the Shin infantry can barely hold on, the cavalry finally arrives. With their speed and power, the cavalry sweep through the enemy ranks, driving the Wei forces back and allowing the Shin soldiers to finally make it to the foot of the hill, the key strategic point they've been after from the start. At this moment, 1,000-man commander Bakuko Shin, a tough seasoned warrior, congratulates the surviving infantry. With a fiery speech, he pushes them to storm the hill and gain crucial ground. Now, Shin, still riding the momentum from his earlier feats, joins a group of 40 cavalrymen, break through the enemy lines. These guys storm the enemy headquarters at the top of the hill where General Gokei's second in command is stationed. It's a full-blown assault and the chaos is overwhelming. In the middle of all this, Bakuko Shin himself takes down the Wei general, but it's not without cost. The fight leaves him with grave injuries. But there's no time to celebrate, as General Gokei makes his move. With General Gokei now making his move on the plains, the pressure on the Shin forces ramps up. But here's where things get even more interesting. To the far west, none other than legendary General Oki is watching the battle unfold. Now, if you're not familiar with Oki, this guy is the true definition of a powerhouse. One of the greatest generals of Shin, but here's a catch. By law, Oki can't directly interfere in the battle, unless of course he finds a loophole, and Oki being a master at that, he does just that. In what can only be described as a pure chat move, Oki comes up with a brilliant excuse to get involved. He turns to his Lieutenant To and casually says that he simply wishes to get a better view of the battlefield. And if anyone, enemy or otherwise, dares to stand in his way, well, they're just going to get cut down. No big deal, right? I mean, who's going to stop the General Oki? So with that ironclad logic, he slays every way soldier unlucky enough to cross his path. He cuts through the enemy forces like they're nothing, and the effect on the Shin soldiers is immediate. Morale skyrockets. Imagine seeing one of the greatest living generals casually walk onto the battlefield, mowing down enemies without even breaking a sweat. It almost seems unfair, but remember, Oki is just here for the view, right? He's not technically interfering, just making sure he has the best seat in the house. Watching Oki in action, you can't help but get the feeling that this man is on a whole different level from everyone else. He doesn't need to say a word. His presence alone is enough to inspire the entire Shin army. As the battlefield settles, Shin finally comes face to face with the man himself, General Oki. Now, Oki has heard about Shin thanks to Shoban-kun's recommendation, but the general isn't exactly impressed. In fact, he barely gives Shin a second glance before calling him weak. Typical Oki, right? He's a guy who has seen it all, and a rookie like Shin just doesn't make the cut in his eyes. But Shin is not the type to back down. Instead of taking the insult quietly, he hits Oki with one of the boldest comebacks in the entire series. He calls him a giant queer. Shin's got guts, maybe too much for his own good. And Oki, being Oki, doesn't let that slide. In a flash, he puts his massive glaive to Shin's neck, basically showing him that he's been standing at death's door the entire time without even realizing it. Luckily, before things escalate any further, Heiki steps in to try and calm the situation. It's all about respect and protocol, so he even tries to relinquish authority of the troops to Oki, but Oki is not interested. He dismisses the offer without a second thought, and almost like he's too busy pondering something else to care. And then comes one of the most fascinating moments of the encounter. Oki, ever the playful tactician, makes a bet with Shin. He asks Shin a seemingly simple but loaded question. Which type of general is going to win this battle? The instinctive type like Dukyo, or the strategic genius like Goke? He goes off on a bit of a ramble discussing the two kinds of general and how they shape the outcomes of wars. For him, it's not just about the battles themselves, it's about the generals who fight in them. His philosophy on war is clear. It's a contest of wills, and the true heart of any battle lies in the general who leads the charge. While Oki is busy rambling about war, something starts happening on the battlefield. Dukyo, the wild and instinctive general, finally takes to the field, and it's nothing short of breathtaking. The force behind Dukyo's assault feels even stronger than any charge Oki himself could lead. It's like Dukyo has become a living storm tearing through the enemy ranks with an unstoppable fury. Inspired by his general's overwhelming might, Shin knows there is no time to waste. He turns to Oki and without hesitation asks for a horse so I can join the battlefield and follow Dukyo's assault. His new mount, Shin races off to join his comrades, eager to prove himself in the heat of the battle and following Dukyo's lead. Just when things are looking unstoppable for Dukyo's charge, Wei forces strike back with a devastating move. Goke isn't about to let the Shin army have their way, so he sets up a trap, sending chariots to pincer Dukyo from both the left and the right. It's a dangerous situation even for a force as fierce as Dukyo's. The Wei chariots are closing in, and for a moment it seems like the momentum of the battlefield might swing back in Wei's favor. Heiki, always a reliable commander, rushes in to support Dukyo's left flank, and Shin, who's been charging across the battlefield like a whirlwind, joins the effort. Together they pull off a pincer maneuver of their own, catching the Wei forces off guard. Goke, watching the situation unfold, isn't about to give up. He deploys his secret weapons, two infamous generals who have earned the nickname General Killers. Their reputation alone strikes fear into the hearts of many, as they have taken down some of the strongest commanders in past battles. But all that was rubbish. These guys are total frauds. As soon as they hit the battlefield, Shin and Duke Hyo waste no time dispatching them with brutal efficiency. With the way Ace is out of the picture, Duke Hyo's path is now clear. His forces surge forward, cutting through the remaining Wei soldiers like a tidal wave, and in one of the most epic moments in the entire campaign, Duke Hyo breaks through Gokei's main camp. They are standing amidst the chaos of the battlefield, Duke Hyo face to face with Gokei himself. The moment Duke Hyo and Gokei clash, it's clear two titans are meeting on the battlefield. Their glaives ring out with every strike. The Wei soldiers, full of loyalty to their general, can't help but hype up Gokei, chanting his name as if it's their last hope. But on the Shin side, it's eerily quiet. The Shin soldiers have seen Duke Hyo in action before, and they know exactly what's coming. The fate of the battle is already sealed in their minds. In all of China, very few soldiers are capable of standing toe-to-toe with Duke Hyo and living to tell the tale. And well, Gokei, he isn't one of them. Duke Hyo fights with his signature style like a predator toying with its prey. At first, he's not even going for the kill. Instead, he's figuring out the nature of the man he's facing. Gokei, meanwhile, is fighting with everything he has. He's not just defending Wei, he's defending his honor, his pride, his second home. He reveals to Duke Hyo that he was once royalty, a man who lost his standing, his birthright, but Wei took him in when no one else would. But then, just as quickly, Duke Hyo makes his decision. He's learned all he needs to know about his opponent. The game is over. With a decisive strike, Duke Hyo ends the battle swiftly, dispatching Gokei. Even in victory, Duke Hyo acknowledges Gokei's final blaze of glory. It wasn't enough to change the outcome of the war, but it was the mark of a man fighting for something greater than himself. With Gokei defeated, the battle and the campaign comes to an end. As the Shin soldiers march back home, the weight of the campaign lingers in the air like a heavy fog. Though victorious, the battlefield had taken its toll. Many had fallen, and the soldiers returning carry not just the glory of war, but the burden of the comrades that they lost along the way. Karyoten moved through the crowd searching for Shin. Then he hears a familiar voice from the back, putting her at ease, as Shin is one of the lucky soldiers to return back home after such a vicious campaign. Now with that, we have finished the second major arc in the Kingdom story, and I will continue to push more videos like this, giving brief summaries of the major arcs in Kingdom. And if you're looking forward to that, sub to the channel, leave a like, comment your thoughts, and with that, I'll see you in the next one.
Kevin, you're an idiot.
Stay with me, you could find out. Shawty bad, but I don't need her right now. Out she busy cooking in my hideout. She a girl, but she chilling with me somehow. Now, stick with me, you could find out. Make her, but I don't need her.